Good afternoon, guys. Jake here. Just wanted to make a quick little video, get your mind thinking a little bit. I know a lot of people are moving around the country right now for many different reasons. But if you're considering moving or it's in your future to move, just going to give you something to look at here. We are looking at a population density map for the U.S. And we're all smart enough to know where most of the people live. All right. Now, with things going on the way that they are, population density is not necessarily going to be your friend. When you have more people competing over the same amount of resources, it can only cause problems. All right, guys. So let's just run through some of this and keep an open mind and take some of this into consideration here as we go through the video. Here again, population density. We all pretty much kind of know where the people live. All right, and there are reasons why people don't live out in these other areas. We'll get into some of that. All of us, no matter where we live, depend on this, guys, the grid. Now, I don't care how far off grid you think you live, or you want to live, or what position you're in right now. We all depend on this grid. And everything that you have and everything that you have acquired throughout your life has been because of this grid. This grid provides you everything, right? The food that you eat, the water that you drink, the heat that's provided in your home, the vehicle you drive, the road you drive on, the clothes you wear, the glasses you wear, every product pretty much that you are using requires or has required the use of this grid. Okay, guys? If you want to become more self-reliant, try to steer yourself away from the use of this electrical grid. There are many ways out there to produce power, but to move away from the electrical grid and produce your own power somehow on your property, that's definitely the way that you want to try and go. And going all off grid with no power is very, very difficult. Weather is going to play a very large part in your life whenever this grid right here goes down. Okay? A lot of you guys live up here in the north and y'all want to give us hell down here in the south. I want y'all to take into consideration, guys, when the grid goes down, what are you going to do? Now, I'm not talking about for a few days here. We've all experienced the power outages for a few days, even a couple of weeks. And in major disaster areas, those people have went without power for a lot longer. And you can ask them. It is not a pleasant place to be, especially when it's an unexpected loss. Now, if you've been able to prepare somewhat via generators or solar or any of that kind of stuff, that's all good, guys. But remember, the things that you have acquired or the things that you're operating will take the grid. I mean, where is your fuel for your generator coming from? All right? Where is the food and refrigeration that you're using to store that food? Where's all that coming from? Okay? And you guys up here in the north, when that grid drops off, you're going to have a real problem keeping your house warm. Now, a lot of you say, oh, well, I got propane. Oh, well, I got fuel oil or coal. I'm talking long term, guys, 6, 8 months, a year, maybe 5 years. Whenever this grid thing goes down, it's not just going to come back on overnight. That's what I hope you all start to realize. If you're stepping outside and you're looking at things like this right here, lots of white, cold climates, when you see this kind of stuff right here, without that power grid, your life is going to get twice as hard. And everything that you do becomes harder, okay? The weather is going to play a very large role in your life if and when this grid goes down. And really, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Our grid is very outdated, very old. We keep adding on to it and stressing it to the max every year. I very seriously doubt anybody has not heard of a Roman blackout. Your area may not have had them, but it don't mean that they won't come. And again, you're seeing them right here in the United States, okay? So living in one of these climates right here, all of you guys up north, it is not going to be easy for probably 6 months out of the year, 5-6 months out of the year. And I know you're getting along now, you're making it, but what are you going to do when that grid goes off, guys? All right, that's the real question. Now, it's not just the cold temperatures either. It has a lot to do with rainfall. Where are the growing areas in the United States? All right, where is our breadbasket at? Where do our fruits and veggies and the little bit of food that we actually do grow here in the U.S., where does it come from? Without rain, guys, without good weather, food production is going to go down. And all of that food production requires the grid, all right? I mean, think about it. How do we farm today? We are a very modern society. We use heavy machinery, lots of electronics. Everything that we do is very complicated. I mean, if you can't get fuel, what good are all these tractors going to do you? If you can't get chemical and fertilizer, what good is all of this going to do you? When all that drops off, we're going to be stepping back in time, guys. All right? Can you imagine farming thousands of acres like this? Literally, it's not going to happen. The people are incapable of doing it. They don't have the knowledge to do it. And when you're dropped back to farming in this kind of a style right here, there are going to be major food shortages. Okay? That's just one part of the food industry. I mean, a couple of things there that are going to be very serious. Just where you live and the ability you have to grow food yourself. Now let's look at a bigger picture. There are currently 174 countries at war. Now, this may be a few days old, so that could have changed. We all know what's going on over in Europe. But there again, that number right there should really tell you a lot about what is happening today in our world. 174 countries at war, but yet really the only thing that you've heard anything in the news about lately is Russia and Ukraine. I mean, come on guys, 174 countries? At what point do we call it a world war? Do you think those 174 countries have any effect on our global supply lines? These are all global supply lines, guys, all right? Very few products that you have are made locally to where you're at. We bring in an overwhelming amount of containers. Everything is shipped into this country. Food, the clothes you wear, the products you buy, the products you use, the parts that we make everything else out of in this country, from raw materials on out. The supply lines, guys, I mean, you do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. When are countries going to start keeping those goods for themselves? What is the point in sending those goods over here to us when 174 countries are at war? What do these pictures right here look like to you? Okay, guys, these are right here in the U.S. Okay, we've all seen or heard what's going on out in L.A. with the trains. Do you not think this probably is not going on in other U.S. cities around our country? I mean, look at this. Now, what's the difference in that? Okay, and this right here. Can you imagine going to your grocery store and seeing that, guys? All right, this is Venezuela. You don't think that it can't happen here in the U.S.? All right? You don't think you can't go to the store and you won't see that right there? But yet you look outside and you see this right here. These are the trains that are bringing the goods to your store. All right? This has probably been going on for some time now. They just haven't told us about it. And I'm sure it's going on elsewhere in the country. You think the criminal element is only just going to stop right here in LA? Those trains go all over our country. And the criminal element is all over our country. There is no denying that. So what's the difference between these two? Okay, it's just a matter of time from when it goes to this train track over to your local store. All right, it's all about food, guys. I mean, food and supplies. That's the important thing that you're going to realize is food. What about volcanism? Do you think all the volcanoes, not just recently, in the last couple of 100 years, do you think that affects our planet and our climate and our growing season, rain? Do you think this at all has an effect on that? And look at it going off of the chart. What about solar activity? Do you think solar activity has some effect on the ability for us to grow here? Do you think it has some effect on our crops, the drought, rainfall? I mean, these are things that we don't even control, guys, and you know, they're going off of the charts on us. What does it take for everybody to wake up and realize, you know, how many people got to tell you in your face that there is a problem? And it's not just a problem down here on your local Walmart shelf, all right? We're talking the big picture here, guys, all right? Here's you a good statistic. Over 884 million people do not have safe water to drink. The simplest things without this right here are going to cause you some of the greatest problems. And if you're not preparing for these things, you know what you can expect? No food, no water, no shelter, no heat. Remember, when all that goes down, guys, what are y'all going to do up here? It's not easy down here when it's cold. I can't imagine being up here in this area with no power. The one thing that we all depend on. So if you're thinking about moving, if you've considered it, if it's in your future, I would definitely make that move. And I would make that move out here somewhere in an area where you can possibly grow food and sustain yourself. And just a little note on that. Here's the top 10, guys. And see if you can figure out the average median here, okay? Number 1, Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida, Indiana. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that one so much. Alabama, Florida, Kansas. Again, I don't agree with that so much, but there are a lot of things that do grow in a cooler climate. Texas, Florida, North Carolina again. Guys, these are all places below this line right here. Okay? I know a lot of you garden up here. Do you realize that it takes about 800 to 1,000 square feet of production garden area for a family of 4? And that's considering that, you know, nothing else goes wrong. I mean, you got all of these other things to worry about. One windstorm, one raccoon. You know, the goats got out of your yard and got in the garden. The chickens got in your garden. It's a bad year for armyworms. There are so many things that are going to go into you actually just being able to garden. And to throw the weather in on top of that, sub-zero temperatures. I know you got your propane and your fuel oil, but how many of you actually go out and chop your own wood? I mean, if you do, you know, it takes a year in advance for that wood to dry out for you to burn. There's no doubt, obviously, a lot of you have wood burning stoves up here, but where do you get that wood? Do you buy it? You know, when this right here disappears, all that other stuff is going to disappear. Your fuel, your propane, your gasoline, the ability to use your car, refrigeration that keeps your food cold, all of that is going to go away, guys. Please take some steps to change your lifestyle, get some things that do not require this grid to operate, learn some techniques to prepare food, make medicine, clean water. The simplest things are going to make a huge difference in your life, guys. Just a heads up, something to think about. I know it's cold out there in a lot of places right now. Now just imagine that the power's been off. Where would you actually be at now, 10 days ago, if the power went off? Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, and subscribe.